The Toronto Blue Jays just had one of the most memorable collapses in MLB history, and everyone seems to be pointing to the move by John Snyder to take out Kevin Gausman as the one thing that really cost the Blue Jays the game. But I have something else that I think many people aren't really talking about that cost them the game. So, without further ado, let's break it all down. So, Jays fans, Nick Gosse here, host of Jays Digest, and this is going to be an interesting video, bit of a different one. And let's just get right into it. So, as you guys know, yesterday we had one of the most memorable collapses in Blue Jays history. I had a video on it yesterday about, I'll go into a quick breakdown of it now. Of course, they lost 10-9. We were up 8-1. And John Snyder took out Kevin Gausman. We were up 8-1 with the bases loaded and one out, or two outs, I believe. Sorry. And Tim Mayza came in. Now, Tim Mayza, it was against Carlos Santana. Santana's better versus lefties. Mayza's not so good against righties. So it was a bit of a confusing decision at the time. But at the end of the day, we're up 8-1. So really, it shouldn't matter too much about who you bring in there. And Mayza's been dominant all season. So we bring in Tim Mayza, and of course, he throws a wild pitch. It's fine, 8-2. And then Carlos Santana hits the 3-run home run. Now, in the moment, Jays fans were pretty outraged. But once we lost the game, Jays fans were even more outraged. And they're basically just a lot of Jays fans, not all, but a lot of Jays fans were blaming it all on John Schneider. Again, not all of them, but a lot of Jays fans were. Now, while I think that's valid, I'm gonna get into another thing here now in a minute. So, yeah, the Jays lost. Season's over. I had a bit of a breakdown yesterday, but yeah. So we're gonna get into now the issue that most fans are pointing to. So, like I just broke down, it's the Kevin Gausman takeout, and it was just the bullpen management in general. So, again, Kevin Gausman, 95 pitches, is rolling. He goes into the fifth inning or the sixth inning, and he's just rolling. Whatever inning it was, but he's just rolling, no issues whatsoever. He's cruising. He's dominant. I was going to make a video about how he was being dominant. And then he goes out, gives up 3 straight base hits, and just like that, it's bases loaded. But there's 2 outs. Kevin Gausman has 95 pitches. He has one of the best pitches in baseball, which is his splitter. So you would think you would trust Kevin Gausman. You paid him that huge $110 million contract or $105 million contract in the offseason. You would expect him to go out there and be dominant and to stay in the game. You're paying him to do this. It's only the 5th inning. Yes, I get it's the playoffs, but you keep him out there. And again, the Jays fans were mad. Clearly, bad move in hindsight. They shouldn't have put in Tim Mayza. If they would have put in a righty to face Carlos Santana, I'm sure there would be less outrage. Because a righty against Carlos Santana would make a bit more sense, but they brought in Tim Mayza. Now, again, in hindsight, bad move, but this isn't the main reason the Blue Jays lost. We were up 8-1 at the time, and Tim Mayza could have easily came in, got a ground ball, got an out, whatever. Obviously, if John Snyder had his time back, he wouldn't do that. He would obviously make a different bullpen move or keep Kevin Gausman in. So yeah, obviously John Snyder wouldn't have done that in hindsight. But I don't think it's fully fair to say that is the reason we lost. Obviously, it was a bad decision. It was a dumb decision. But John Snyder, it's 8-1. It's a must-win game. Maybe, I'm sure there's an advanced analytics department that told him to do that. Maybe he only had Carlos Santana from the right side had 3 home runs on the year, and from the left side he had 16. So maybe they're thinking, let's try to negate the possibility of him hitting a huge home run by bringing in the lefty and flipping him to the right side, even though he was a drastically better hitter from the right side. So, I mean, the decision, obviously, while not the right one, I don't think is what cost them the game. Let's get into what cost them the game. The real reason the Jays lost. So, yeah, let's get into it. As you know, Jordan Romano came in for the 6-out save after the bases were loaded by Anthony Bass, the off-season acquisition. 3 base hits and 3 straight base hits. Bases were juiced. Jordan Romano comes in, 6-out save. He hasn't done that, and I don't know if he's ever done it in his career. The crowd was rolling. It was an 8-5 game at this point. Okay, 8-5 game. You're bringing Jordan Romano, 6-out save. That's a lot, but he's been the guy. So he comes in. He strikes out the first Mariners hitter, filthy. Second hitter, slider, strikes him out, filthy. So we're at 2 outs, bases loaded. Score is 8-5 in the 8th inning. You're feeling okay if you're a Jays fan. You're nervous about the home run. You're nervous about this. You're nervous about that. But you're feeling okay. Up steps the Mariners hitter, pops it up, and it falls right in between of everyone. Literally right in between of everyone. I'm going to pop the video up here. If you guys haven't seen it, you'll be able to see it here. So Romano pitches, lefty hits it, J.P. Crawford. You see Springer sprinting in right here. You have Bo Bichette here, and you have Espinal. Bo Bichette, obviously, if you, it's going to be a bit not graphic, but Springer gets hit. The ball drops right in between, right there, drops in between everyone. So this was the turning point of the game. Obviously, there's still a lot of people talking about it, but that was the turning point of the game. You can talk about the pitching all you want. You can say how if you didn't take out Kevin Gausman, the game wouldn't have gotten to that point. But the game, we had 2 outs there, and that bloop single is what cost us the game. Now, what I want to bring up is this right here. This is the play of the game. He's referring to the video I just said. Talk about the bullpen blowing it, blame Schneider for pulling Gausman, whatever. But if this jam shot is caught, Romano goes to the ninth, up 3 runs. The key factor here, as a Mike Petrillo, who is a stats guy, I believe, Springer's jump was a negative 4.5 feet compared to average. So, essentially, Springer, if you look back at the video, Springer was on track to catch that ball, and he dove like that, not to avoid Bo, but to get low enough to catch the ball. Now, if Bo had not have run out there trying to make the play in center field, Springer, if you look back at the video and according to the stats, he would have at least had a good chance to make the play. Obviously, I'll throw it up one more time for you. Have a quick look here. Springer, look where the ball is and look where Bo is. Obviously, Bo is out of his element here. He should not be going that far into the outfield. But the ball drops. Springer has a read on it. He has a read on it. Then he jumps to get low enough, and the ball drops. Now, I'm not going to show him getting hit again, but the ball dropped. Now, he had a read on it. If Bo wasn't in that way, Springer could have either went to the left and caught it or dove properly. He obviously had to adjust his dive at the end, but he was diving there low to get low enough to get the ball. And according to the stats, Springer he made up enough ground to get there. And that's the big thing. If he makes that catch, the Jays almost surely win the game. Romano goes into the 9th inning with a 8-5 lead, or a 9-5 if the Jays score a run, which it ended up doing. But it's rough to see. That was the thing. I'll pop this up one more time for you. What Chris Black said. That's what I'm hitting at here. Obviously, the Schneider Gausman thing was rough, but it's a jam shot. It got caught, or it should have gotten caught. Springer's jump again was negative 4.5 feet compared to MLB average. So another way. Obviously, but I'm not blaming Bo Bichette here. It's not Bo Bichette's fault. Obviously, if he hadn't ventured into the outfield, and he'll learn that with time, I'm sure. But he's just trying to make a play in one of the most electric atmosphere he's ever played in. So he's just trying to make a play again in the most electric atmosphere that I'm sure him or most of the players in the arena have played. So he was just running for it. Now, should he have known not to go into the outfield and get in George Springer's way? Probably, because George Springer probably could have caught that ball, or at least had a good chance to. And if he hadn't have caught it, if Bo wasn't there and they didn't collide, it would have been limited to most likely a 2-run single or double, because obviously Espinal had to run over, or whoever was left, or Espinal had to go over and get the ball. So I'd say, to tell you Jays fans, harping on Schneider, I'm right there with you. It was a rough decision, and there'll be videos coming out talking about that. We're going to be pumping out content daily, if not every other day, just tons about about things that could have changed and just what changes need to be made in the offseason, tons of stuff like that. But that bloop right there was the true kryptonite for the Jays and the turning point in the game, because Springer could have caught that ball. He shouldn't have. He shouldn't have. I can't say he should have, but he could have if Bo didn't get in the way. And another final quick thing is that maybe if Schneider would have put Jackie Bradley Jr. in center for that inning, obviously Springer was hurting the whole game. He hit his hand against the wall. His swings weren't right. He struck it, I believe, 4 times or 3 times, and he wasn't looking healthy out there. So maybe you put Jackie Bradley in for that inning for defense. It would have made a lot of sense. The only thing was Springer was the next man up to hit in the bottom half of the inning, so maybe they wanted to keep him out there. But if you have Jackie Bradley out there, he makes that catch. And I don't know if Bo runs out there if Jackie's out there, So at the end of the day, the real reason the Jays lost this game was because of that bloop hit, and that's what really cost them. Of course, the Snyder error, hindsight's 2020. We were up 8-1. The bullpen needed to lock it down. Bullpen is also big thing to blame. But before you know, instead of blaming Schneider fully, that bloop single, Bo could have got out of the way. I'm not fully blaming Bo or anything, but that bloop is what ended up really costing us the game, and it's gonna be on our minds for the next several months until the Jays season starts. So, thank you guys for watching. We are on the road to 1K subs, so make sure you hit the subscribe button if you did enjoy. Look forward to tons of videos coming out, lots of new videos coming out soon. So, thank you guys for watching. Cheers.